Hello everybody, my name is KingStix. In this video, I'm going to be showing you the 5 most OP junglers if you're new to the game or if you're just new to the jungle role in general. These 5 champions will definitely get you out on the right foot, and at least one of them should be a decent fit for your general playstyle, and most likely at least one of them will be pleasing to you aesthetically, which might sound silly, but I know for a lot of players, if they don't like the way a champion looks, they're just simply not going to play it no matter what. The 4 different criteria that I'm using to rank these champions on for noobs and beginners is number 1, clearing. How well can these champions get through their jungle camps, whether it be a single monster camp or a large monster camp like raptors, golems, or wolves. Number 2, strong ganks. Can this champion easily gank? This is very important, especially in low and mid elo. Laners tend to play very aggressive, and ganking can lead to a lot of free kills. Number 3, scalability. How well can this champion scale into the mid and late game? Games in low elo tend to last much longer than games in high elo, so it's very important as a mid-low elo player that a champion that you're playing has some form of scalability. And number 4, skill floors and ceilings. Skill floor is how easily you can pick the champion up and automatically do decent with it, and the skill ceiling is how much room you have to grow on that champion as you gain more knowledge about the champion and the game around you. It is very important as a beginner player or someone who is new to jungling that you don't pick a champion that has overwhelming mechanics like Lee Sin or Elise. With these complex mechanics, if you don't use them perfectly, that champion is usually quite terrible, doesn't have much carry potential, and is very frustrating. While at the same time, it makes it hard to learn the rest of the game since you're so focused around learning these mechanics before you even understand how the game works and how your champion interacts with others. I want to get the 2 honorable mentions out of the way first. The first one is Rammus. Rammus nearly made the list. The main issue is tank junglers in general aren't very strong right now. Nevertheless, Rammus is a very simple champion to pick up and play at a decent level, even if it's your first time playing him, assuming you're taking the right runes, starting the right items, doing the right level order on your abilities. He's a very simplistic champion to pick up. With that being said, I would not recommend Rammus unless the enemy team are all attack damage champions. Now, if you don't know what that means, then don't pick Rammus. And if you do know what that means, if you're going to pick Rammus, you still need to be wary of the enemy jungle in your early levels, since Rammus can't really 1v1 anyone early, since Rammus takes loads of damage from single monster camps. You're supposed to start Hunter's Talisman on Rammus, that way when you're doing the AoE camps, you take very little damage. The other core aspect of Rammus that you need to be mindful of is your Q timing. You need to be careful not to try to gank whenever the minions are running down the lane, because they will create a line which makes it very difficult for you to get past them. The second honorable mention is Amumu. He suffers from a lot of the same issues Rammus suffers from. His ganks are highly reliant on his CC ability, which is his bandage toss. However, you can easily miss it just by the enemies juking it or flashing it, or if a minion gets in the way, that'll completely botch the whole gank. Amumu also suffers from really bad single camp clears, so red buff, blue buff, Gromp, he's going to really struggle on and take a lot of extra damage. He also has issues contesting Scuttle Crabs, medium strong early game junglers. If Amumu tries to contest a Scuttle Crab, he will get pushed off of it and be set farther behind before Amumu's level 6 as well. The enemy junglers will typically hit level 6 before him, beat his head in. The first champion to make this list on our number 5 spot is Cain. Cain has really fast clear speeds. He can start on virtually any jungle camp. He can start on raptors completely by himself. He can do his red by himself. He can do his golems by himself. He has a lot of different options where to start, which makes him a very dangerous tool. You could potentially invade the enemy team's raptors and then do their red and then their golems. Or if you're on your side, it's typically best to do your red buff golems into your raptors and continue to power farm. Cain is an extremely hard scaling champion who can easily carry games as long as you can get your second form in a timely manner. Preferably red Cain, since it is the stronger form in general. There are a few situations where going blue Cain is actually the better choice. It's typically only favored whenever the enemy team has low CC and they have loads of squishies and you're very far ahead. That is roughly only 1 out of 10 times. So 9 out of 10 times, you're just going to want to try to go for red Cain, and then you'll easily be able to hard carry the games. The reason why Cain only makes the number 5 spot on our list is because he takes a little bit to scale and he's kind of reliant on his second form. Like I said, if you can reach his second form in a timely manner, you'll easily be able to carry the games with your massive AoE damage, mobility, and scalability. The number 4 champion on our list is Jax. Jax and Cain were an extremely close, I do have to say, Jax and Cain were really close for number 5. However, with Jax's cheaper blue essence cost, and also with Jax being able to gank much harder, much earlier, I have to give the edge to Jax for taking the number 4 spot. After red buff, whether you're a bronze 5 player or a challenger player, you can easily make a gank happen. Simply walk up behind the enemy champion, auto attack them. After you start your first auto, activate your E, try to stay on them and land the stun. Once they flash, feel free to use your Q to stay on top of them. You don't want to initiate with your Q, because if you immediately EQ on them, they're going to flash away from you and negate your stun damage, and now you'll have no gap closer to stay on them. Jax jungle can get down loads of gank pressure in the early and mid game. In the late game, he does fall off a little bit, but if you know what you're doing in the early mid game, you can easily make up for that with your ganks. I think Jax is a great starting champion since he is so cheap with blue essence. He's only 1350 and he has such a low skill floor. Like we talked about, Jax excels at ganking. He also excels at taking scuttle crabs. With his stun, it lets him do a lot more damage to scuttles since they lose a lot of armor magic resist whenever you CC them. You can smite it and damage it while it's stunned to do way more damage. He's also great at dueling auto attack based enemy jungler. Things like Lee Sin, Xin Zhao, 𝐒𝐿, Kindred and Graves, and Master Yi. Jax all does really well against. Those are the kind of champions you're going to want to be picking Jax into. Number 3 on our list, we have Pantheon jungle. Pantheon jungle is definitely a hardy handful. He's very difficult to 1v1 for any jungler. I don't care if you're Elise, Lee Sin, or Graves. If you're playing against a good Pantheon, 1v1ing him can be an absolute nightmare. Pantheon has great range damage with his Q. He has a very good gap closer and reliable CC that he can't miss unless you cancel him in midair, which very few champions can do. He has amazing scuttle control, amazing early kill pressure. He also excels really well at diving people under turrets, since he can block turret shots with his passive. Similar to Jax, I'd recommend picking Pantheon against auto attack based junglers. Any auto attack reliant champion Pantheon will counter because of his passive, and also any champion that is weak, squishy, or off meta in the jungle, Pantheon also counters, since Pantheon can reliably close the distance with his W, applying CC and putting him on his target. Just like with Xin Zhao and Jax, Pantheon is a level 2 red buff gank champion. Come up behind the enemy, hit them with an auto attack and a spear. You want to try to apply your red buff as soon as possible to get the slow and the burn on top of them. Try not to use your W until after they flash. That way you can stay on top of them without having to waste your flash. If they're nearly dead, you can go ahead and just open up with W, because even if they flash, if you throw out your W, it'll stun them, which will give you time to throw out a Q. In this case, MF isn't really running. She's mostly just choosing to attack me rather than run, so there was never really a need for me to use my W. Now that she's starting to build some distance away from me though, and that she's almost nearly dead, I go ahead and just stun her and finish her off. As long as I press W, even if she flashes while I'm in midair, she will be stunned, which will allow me time to either get off another auto attack or just simply Q her to kill her. Number 2 on the list, we have Xin Zhao. Xin Zhao and Pantheon was a close tie for number 2 and 3. Xin Zhao edged out Pantheon though, since Xin Zhao is cheaper with blue essence. Xin Zhao can do a little bit better of a job of sticking on a target, since Xin Zhao can quite easily utilize phase rush. So whenever Xin Zhao is dealing with a squishy ranged jungler, especially like Kindred, Graves, or Twitch, after Xin Zhao presses E and Q, it's virtually a guaranteed kill and they're not going to be able to get away. Xin Zhao plays extremely similar to Jax and Pantheon. All 3 of them try to take red buff, get out an early gank, or pressure a scuttle crab. So I'm not really going to go into the details of Xin Zhao since he plays just so similar to them. And for number 1 on our list, we have Evelynn. I know a lot of you are probably wondering why Evelynn. The reason is she has by far one of the lowest skill floors of any AP jungler right now, and one of the highest skill ceilings, which means if you're the jungler on your team and your team needs AP, Evelynn is definitely the champion for you. The only downside to Evelynn, which is why I almost didn't put her at rank 1 on this list, is because Evelynn desperately needs level 6 to hard carry her. The power that her ultimate gives, massive AoE damage with an amazing escape, allows her to turret dive and go in for insane plays and not even come close to dying. Not to mention the fact that she gets insane invisibility once she's level 6. As long as she's not in combat or too close to an enemy, she will remain invisible. To play Evelynn at her full potential, you're gonna need to hit level 6 as soon as possible. The fastest way to do this is to start on your red, golems, raptors, wolves, and then do your blue and gromp at the same time. At that point, you can either go for a gank, do scuttle, or the enemy's golems, back and repeat. Your golem camp should be coming up, and then you can do that into your raptors, etc. Once you hit level 6, you'll easily be able to carry the game with your massive damage, amazing mobility, and insane ganking pressure. The main thing you need to focus on, Evelynn, is hitting level 6 and not wasting your times on ganks where you know there's a 90% chance you're not going to get a kill. Whenever you go for a kill, putting off your level 6 by a lot, which will hurt you greatly since Evelynn's level 6 is so very important. So try to avoid ganks that are going to completely waste your time. And even if you think you're going to get a kill, if there's not a lot of minion XP for you to leech off of, it's still not worth it, because guess what? Killing an enemy champion gives you almost 0 experience. Even if you killed 5 enemy champions, that's less experience than 1 monster camp. That is going to wrap up this list of the 5 most OP champions for beginners and for jungle noobs. If you're looking for some in-depth commentaries and guides on any of the champions I mentioned in this video, check out my channel. I should have plenty of content on any of them, especially on Evelynn, because I really do appreciate this champion and I recognize her full potential and just how easy she is to pick up with a few pointers. If you guys think I got something wrong or you think I left something out, let me know down in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video and you want to support the channel, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. It really does help me out a lot. My name is KingStix. Thank you for watching, and I'll catch you guys next time.